Hey everybody, welcome to Act 3. Super glad you joined us as always. On today's episode, we've got some really fun things ready for you, and so we're hoping you've got your beverage ready and you're ready to enjoy the program. On today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about animals, a little bit about spring, a little about decluttering, a little about, some fabulous wellness fair that's coming up. You know, we always are glad that you join our program, so make sure you've grabbed yourself a beverage, enjoy the program, and we'll see you in a moment.
I'm sitting on the edge of love and happiness. Never experienced such a moment as this. So if you got that good feeling in your body and you want to bring this moment to life, come with me, we'll hit the town. Let's go right now and live the life. I just want to shine like the sky up like a sunset, living with no regrets. I just want to shine.
Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in. We are really, really happy that you're here. And my guest today is going to share with us a little bit about what it's like to declutter, something I think most of us like to do from time to time. Lilach Lotan is my guest, and she's with Pack on Track. Welcome, Lilach. We're super glad that you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your program.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Kathy. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Lilach, and I own Pack on Track, a company that helps seniors downsize and move mostly into long-term care. I think my love for this business stems from my hate for moving. I'm really not a big fan. I've done it a few times. It triggers my fight or flight response. And I only can imagine that it doesn't get easier with age. And I've seen that firsthand as a nurse. I've been a nurse for 15 years working long-term care. I saw a lot of seniors move, and I saw the impacts on them and their families. It's a difficult transition usually.
It really is. And most of the time people are leaving from, a fairly large home quite often until, if they're in independent care, a much, much smaller place to live. How do people make that transition? Are you there to help guide them and decide what they get to keep and what to throw away?
Of course, they're always the boss. We are only there to help. The best time for transitioning is when somebody is healthy and they're looking forward to their new environment. The worst time is when it's an emergency and it just needs to happen. Yeah. So I think planning is the key there. Starting early is the key. There's probably kind of 4 key, I would say,
things to begin with for
exactly.
when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And so some of the things that I've learned over the years when it comes to decluttering and sort of downsizing is, breaking it down to what you want to give to your family, what you want to keep, what are some of those mementos that are really important, and sort of start to get that stuff out early. Is that something that's easy for older adults to do, or do they often put a lot of love in all of the pieces that they own?
It's definitely not an easy thing to do. Yeah. But it's really important to get started. I think the key is getting started, even if it's a slow kind of once a day, once a week, once a month. But moving towards that downsizing is the key. Those cherished things that people often wait to give to their children down the line, it's probably best to just give them now and see the joy on their loved one faces when they are using them.
Yes, exactly. I think there's something to be said about getting it out of the house while you're still able to have the joy with the people that you love. When someone calls you, what can they expect to have happen?
Usually I would come and take a look and see what is entailed in the move, because people sometimes the starting point is not the same. They're in the process in different spots. So let's see where they are in the process, and we'll go from there. My whole team has healthcare background. Everybody that works with me comes from healthcare. So we understand it's not just the task of downsizing. There's a lot involved, the emotional part of it. It's not just the physical putting things in boxes. There's a lot of, sometimes we'll just have a tea with somebody and just get to know them a little bit and let them tell the stories and build that trust before we kind of move on to the task themselves.
Sometimes there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of trepidation in going into a room that might be a bit overwhelming for people. And I love the idea about maybe taking one item at a time or a little bit at a time. Have you noticed that there's, one or two objects perhaps that people have a harder time to part with, like photo albums or anything like that? Or do you find it's more easy for people to let some of that stuff go?
Oh, it's definitely difficult. And I've seen probably every client that we've served, those fancy dishes that people keep and don't ever use.
Yes.
They just go unused. They go to an auction house, they go somewhere. So if I can have one advice for anybody, use those good dishes. Enjoy them. Don't put them away.
I'm with you on that. I use my china every day. That's definitely been in the dishwasher more than once, and you know that it's been used. But I love the idea of using what it is I have, right? That's, I think, so important for people.
Exactly.
So how do people reach you? How do people find out about your services? Do you have a website, all of that kind of stuff?
We have a website. It's www.pack-on-track.com. A lot of it is word of mouth. People that we helped tell other people, they tell their family members, that's how they get to know us. Realtors use us a lot because when they come to see their clients, they see that there is some work that needs to be done before the house can be listed or sold. So that's where we come in. Sometimes the movers are a very excellent source for kind of noticing that people need our help, and they would contact us. Or a lot of the times the marketing people in long-term care, they would reach out and say, well, that person they really want to, they really need to, but they're not quite there yet. And I see that a lot as a nurse. I saw that they waited too long and they missed out on those beautiful years to enjoy in their community. They were just kind of stuck with their belongings in their house.
Yeah.
And that's where we come and help.
That's so great. Thank you so very, very much for doing the great work that you do, and for all of the seniors that are out there that might be thinking about downsizing. You know who to call. In the meantime, let's go over to Teresa and see who she's talking with.
Thanks, Kathy. That is so great information on downsizing. I am so pleased to have with me Ian Thompson. He's a certified senior housing professional. You might know him better as a realtor. Hi, Ian. Nice to see you.
Gypsy. Yes, thank you.
You
Thanks for
did
being
start
here.
as a realtor, right?
Well, I've been a realtor 21 years, and I've been focusing on helping seniors for about 6 years. And in the last couple of years, I really did a deep dive into, what do seniors need in this point in their life, and how do we help them get from larger spaces to smaller spaces, right?
Yeah, and if they might have a 4,000 square foot house, moving maybe into 1,500 a condo?
Well, yeah, and most people when they're downsizing, they're either going to downsize into a smaller home, or they're going to downsize to rent somewhere. They're not going to buy again. They're going to downsize into a retirement home, or they're going to downsize with their family, either into their house, or the fifth thing is buy something together. So it's usually one of those 5 things that people are doing.
So what are some of the things that people should be looking at when they're looking at selling their home and downsizing? What are some of the steps that they should be following?
Well, I think the first thing is to really understand why they're doing it. And it sounds like an obvious thing, but what do they want to do when they're downsized? Do they want to do any maintenance at all? Like, do they still want to cut their own grass? Some people like to go to Deerwood. You probably heard of Deerwood
Yes.
before, where you don't own the land. You're a tenant, but you're still responsible to cut the grass. It's still your own house. If the window breaks, you fix it. You can move into a strata, where a strata means you have a say in what's going on. And if something breaks in your unit, the window, then the strata is responsible for it. And other people just want to rent and save their money and not have anything. So I think once people figure that out, then what they're really looking for is peace of mind. We talk about buying another house, but when you think of peace of mind, I can just relax and go home at night and enjoy my life and my grandkids and not worry about, geez, there's a roof going to go. Does it need new windows? Because after a while, that gets a lot of stress in people's lives.
Sure, and I'm sure some people, they want to travel. So having just a door they can lock in a condo or an apartment is a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah, it is peace of mind. And so we try and spend more time on that. The moving process itself, we can make it pretty simple, but it's the work you do before that means a better outcome down here. So we spend a lot of time planning that process about where they want to go and going out and seeing some things. It's like, buying a suit or anything else, you got to try it on.
Sure.
So we go into some houses and like, gee, this is pretty small. It's only 800 square feet. Because a lot of the new condominiums are small.
Yeah.
They're quite small when you're coming from a large house. And people like, I need 2 places to watch TV because I don't want to watch what my husband watches, or he watches football. I don't want it. Everybody's agreeing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that happens.
When I bought a house with my husband 13 years ago, I wanted 2 bathrooms. And the realtor, my brother-in-law, my sister said, you don't need 2 bathrooms. There's only 2 of you. And I go, I need 2 bathrooms. I don't care if there's a kitchen or anything else. I want 2 bathrooms. So,
we'll just skip the dishes. No kitchen, just 2 bathrooms.
just
Good for you.
2 bathrooms.
Yeah.
So when people contact you, do they know what they're looking for? Do you kind of help them with some of those decisions about the steps?
Sure. And I mean, some people know right away that there's been a crisis in the family, and so it's time to go. They can't stay anymore. Right. One of the partners has passed away. The house is too big. They can't do yard work. Okay, that means that we're not going to go to this part of town. You're going to go to this part of town. And sometimes we spend time figuring out who's going to help them in the decision. A lot of time at this point in life, it's the son, it's the daughter. Yeah. And sometimes that person lives in Toronto, which can be very difficult for people because they just fly in for the weekend, literally for 2 or 3 days to help mom move. And that's where it's like, well, wait a minute. It's a little bit more than that. So, the group that I've assembled, and Lilach would be part of that group to help people say, Lilach can get you ready to go. And then we work with a specific mover that can get that done. Then we have a house cleaner get it done. So it's all set up for people so they have, again, that peace of mind. That's what people want.
And that's why you're a professional, because you can advise them and help them with all those things. Mm-hmm. You have some downsizing seminars coming up. Tell us about those.
Well, my belief is that the more education people have, they make better decisions for themselves, right? So we do downsizing seminars once a month at the golf course. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we line up a group of speakers. Everybody gets about 20 minutes to help people understand what's involved in downsizing. So we have one of the best speakers I have. Her name is Colby Marie. She's a notary, and she talks about the 4 documents that a senior needs when they're considering moving or any part in life. And one of the most important ones is what's called an enduring power of attorney. A lot of people don't think about that, but if you and your partner are selling your house and your partner gets incapacitated but doesn't pass away, then the whole thing's over because you don't have signing authority for your partner.
Wow.
So that's something that a lot of people don't know that we get done. We have someone who speaks on a reverse mortgage, which is only available for seniors. You have to be 55 and over because the banks don't want to talk to you without income. They love you when you're working.
Yes, that's true.
But you hear the story about somebody who's 80, their house rich and cash poor. How do I get the money out of my house?
Yeah.
That's
and
what a reverse
downsizing
mortgage
is so
does.
misunderstood, not downsizing, sorry. Reverse mortgages, really, really misunderstood. So if they come to your seminars, they can hear about these different things, right?
And then I have a financial planner there because if you're 80 years old and you've sold your house, our average price is $850, you've got $850,000. What am I going to do with it? How do I make it last as long as I do? Because we're all living longer and longer and longer, so you don't want to run out of money. So that's another big consideration. So
that's amazing. So May 28th and April 30th.
Yep, once a month, usually the last Thursday.
And they can call you to register. Your phone number is going to be at the bottom of the screen.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ian.
You're welcome.
Great to have you here. Okay, who's coming up? Jeremy, you're coming up and you're talking to a lady about doggies. Just the best.
Thanks, Teresa. I am certainly going to be talking about dogs, so I just want to put a pre-spoiler out for you all that there may be pictures of dogs on the screens during this interview. As a host for Act 3, I get to meet a lot of cool people in the community that are making real changes and impacting people's lives around me. but it's not often that I get to interview someone who has made an impact on my personal life. I'm here with Sharon Spivak from Elder Dogs. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Jeremy.
Sharon, for folks that might not know what Elder Dog is all about, can you give us the details?
Sure. In a nutshell, Elder Dog is a nonprofit organization. It's Canada-wide, and here in the Nanaimo Oceanside, we have a branch. And we provide free volunteer assistance to seniors, anyone 55 plus, who needs assistance taking care of their dog so that they can stay a loving family in the home. And so that assistance might be dog walking, it might be providing transportation to the vet or grooming appointment, it might be picking up and delivering dog food to the owner, it might be providing temporary foster care in the event, say, that the senior owner has to go into hospital for surgery and the dog needs a new temporary home in the community. And ultimately, when it becomes appropriate for the senior to give up ownership of the dog or the senior passes, we specialize in the rehoming of senior dogs so that an older dog doesn't have to, say, go to a kennel in that kind of environment where they won't do very well and they're competing, so to speak, with younger dogs to appeal to a new family.
Sharon, you spearheaded the pod here in Nanaimo. Is it just in Nanaimo or is it in surrounding communities as well? I think you're Parksville as well, for sure.
Yeah, this particular branch, or pod as we call it, covers the community from Chase River Cedar right through and including Qualicum. Now, there are other pods on the island. There's one in Vancouver, there's one in the Cowichan Valley, but our pod covers that area. So it's Nanaimo Oceanside, essentially.
So that's a pretty big turf for you to cover with your
It is.
with your pack of volunteers. How are you doing for volunteers?
We're doing very well, but the work that we do is really labor intensive. To give you an idea, right now, we're coming up in May of 2025, we'll be 5 years old. We started this particular branch in May of 2020, and we have 98 clients. Of those 98 clients, 73 of them are what we call full-time, which means they need service a minimum of 5 days a week. And so that's over 400 dog walks that have to be filled. We have 135 volunteers who walk dogs, and so many of them will walk more than once a week. But even so, it's a very labor-intensive service if a senior requires their dog to be walked on a daily basis. And so we're always in need of volunteers. We're thrilled with the number of volunteers we have, but we can always use more.
So I can see that there's a need, but why do you really do this? There's, it's not just because there's a dog that needs a walk. What is the benefit to the seniors beyond their dog got a walk? What do you think that what's really behind this?
Well, it's huge for the senior. I mean, our motto is keeping love in the home. And for many seniors, and some of your previous guests on tonight's episode have talked about how downsizing, getting rid of possessions and so on becomes one of the many losses, in a sense, that seniors experience as they get older. They lose their driver's license, they lose their home and have to go somewhere smaller or into residential care. They lose their stove because they forget to turn it off and their children say, "Mom, we're disconnecting that." Of the top 5 things that seniors lose as they age, amongst that is their pet, is their dog. And that's a huge loss for a senior because that dog is a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It's a reason to get out into the community and socialize and meet other people. And the loss of that dog, simply because you're unable to walk it or because you have to go into hospital for 5 days, is absolutely devastating for them. And so with a little bit of volunteer assistance, we can keep love in the home.
I have to admit that I am an indirect beneficiary of the hard labor that you do. My stepfather lives in Parksville, and when my mom passed away, it became really difficult for him to be able to take his dog out. And we really feared that because of the distance, we might not be able to, he might not be able to keep his dog. And Elder Dog stepped in, and Freya is probably one of the happiest dogs you ever know. I just want to thank you personally and on behalf of my stepfather. We appreciate you so much, and we appreciate what you're doing for the community. I just want to really get the word out that we're looking for volunteers for Elder Dog. If you think you have some time to spend with an animal, it's a great way if you would love to own a dog, but you don't have the time or you don't have an apartment. Someone in the neighborhood has a dog that needs some help and needs walking. So please reach out. We're putting the information under the screen. We'd love to have you, right? And I am so grateful to you again. So thank you from the community. And if anyone out there can pitch in and help out with Elder Dog, whether that's time or donations, we'd love to have you, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sharon.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, Elder Dog. We are so glad that you've joined us again, and that, every time we talk about Elder Dog, I get all excited. Now, you'll notice that we've moved out of the studio and we're back into the Zoom booth, and that's just because we had a couple of technical difficulties. So while Kevin was going to do our interview with the wonderful Gypsy Hart, I get to do the great interview as well. So, and I hope it's going to be a great interview as I say that. Gypsy, it's good to see you back again. So sorry that it's done this way, but we are very, very grateful that you will be able to come back to us so we could get this onto the show. And one of the main reasons, Gypsy, is because you've got something fabulous going on. How about you share it with our audience?
Yeah, well, I'm hosting again the Nanaimo Wellness and Spirit Fair, and that is coming up on May the 10th. And so we're really excited to, put this together again for the spring. I host both a spring and also a fall event, and it is, focused on health and wellness as well as the metaphysical. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a blend of everything, and it is on the Mother's Day weekend. So I'm really encouraging, families, friends, everyone, bring your moms out and come and enjoy the event. It's free. There's free admission, parking. The lectures are free as well. And there's lots there. There's also going to be a food truck there. They're a new business, so I always like to support new businesses as well. And so come and check it out. It is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it's just the one day, Saturday, May the 10th. And it's at the Cavalotti Lodge. So that's 2060 East Wellington Road. So it's an easy way to find your way there. It's not too far off Bowen. And we're going to have lots of different exhibitors. So some of them I wanted to kind of name off is just some, we'll have healers, of course, and wellness practitioners, professional psychics, mediums, tarot card readers, palmistry, astrology, aura readings, clairvoyance, shamans, Reiki. I mean, we have light workers. They'll do all sorts of things like past life readings. So you'll really get the blend of that metaphysical, and of course the health and wellness. We have chiropractors. We have lots of different health practitioners that they're also doing demos as well. And for small fees, to treat yourself. It's like self-care all wrapped up in one day. I find a lot of the visitors that come, they stay pretty much the whole day because it is an indoor and outdoor event. So the exhibitors are both inside as well as outside. So it's kind of a market feel. It's really nice to kind of float in and out, and it's a beautiful property, lots of trees, grass. It's just a really nice community center. It's the Italian Community Center, which is the Cavalotti Lodge. So I'm really excited to host it again, and look forward to all the wonderful exhibitors. There's always different ones that come around. So if you come on a regular basis, you will see some new faces, new businesses. Come and support them. And of course, we have a benefactor this event as well, and it's going to be the SPCA. So Nanaimo SPCA Champions for Animals. So you can go on the website, which is wellnessandspiritfair.com. And you will see donations there for the SPCA if you wish to do it online, or you can also come right to the event, and there will be an ambassador there from the Nanaimo SPCA, and they will tell you all about all the wonderful animals, cats, dogs, birds. You know, they have so many different animals for adoption. I did want to have them come and bring all the animals to the event, but I guess they have rules against that. So you will, and you know what? It's so close. It's just like literally down the street from the Cavallati. So you can definitely walk over there if you wanted to. And if you wanted to adopt an animal, they will have binders full of the photos, and they can tell you all about the animals, and they'll make appointments for you to go see them. And so, yeah, you know, we're really advocates here in the city to get these animals adopted, and I'm really excited to host the Nanaimo's SPCA, because it's going to be fun to have them there. But yeah, it's like I'd love to have like some of the cats and the dogs and the rabbits, but I probably will take them home, and you know, I'll be going, what's going on here?
Well, that's the
They've
joy
asked me
of
to
doing it that
volunteer
way.
many times, and I'm thinking if I volunteered, I would definitely be taking a whole bunch of them home.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, thank you so much for being on the program, Gypsy. It was great to
Thank
have you back.
you.
It's always lovely to have you. I know that the stuff that you're doing out in community is just great. So let's encourage everybody, go to the Wellness Fair on May the 10th, Mother's Day. It'll be fabulous. And now I'm sorry to say that's the end of our program. So I'm going to say goodbye to you again from the studio. Well, I hope you enjoyed Act 3 today. Hey, listen, you see all these fabulous people here with me right now? I want to celebrate them. We should be celebrating volunteers all over the place. This is Volunteer Month, and we do know that there's nothing that gets done in this work without the love and the great kind time and effort and skill and talent from all of the many volunteers that make up Act 3 and so many other programs in our community. So if you happen to be volunteering right now, congratulations. We appreciate that you do that. Please know that your time is so important and we value it. And a lot of the people that we had on today were also volunteers. You know, Sharon Spivak with with Elder Dog, Rita Inamrani, one of our team players here, gives of her time through Volunteer Nanaimo. There's a lot of ways that you can volunteer. So please do make sure, if you have the time, to give it a go. It's a whole lot of fun. I also wanted to say that, you know, it's spring. Now's the time to take advantage of some of the things that we learned about today. Downsizing, it's not so easy, but when it's done with care and with love, you know you're going to move on to a new step in your life and really, really enjoy the clarity that comes with decluttering. And on the other side of things, you know, we are always so grateful that any of the people that you listen to can tell their stories. And you might as well want to tell your story. So feel free to reach out to me at act3mediaproductions@gmail.com or go to the website act3mediaproductions.ca. We love to have you, and we're great. And I'm sorry, we are great, but so are you. Thanks again for tuning in to Act 3. We'll see you next time.